Part 3. The final chapter of The Shadow. The dawn was pale and dirty, as if afraid to touch the world after what had happened during the night. The old warehouses where for years women had vanished without a trace were now nothing but a charred shell. The fire Sophia had unleashed had spilled through the halls like vengeance, sudden, merciless, unstoppable. Lawaz had escaped in the chaos of flames, narrowly avoiding the collapsing roof. She was burned, wounded, and drained to the bone. But she was alive. Reached the Varrows mansion before they could wipe the evidence. It was obvious the Varrows would try to flee or, worse, rebuild somewhere else. They had money, influence, and customers willing to pay anything to keep the machine running. Lawes was the only one who knew the layout of the warehouses and the Varrows' methods intimately. The only one who could slip inside unnoticed. The only one with nothing left to fear. 2. A house that breathed silence. The Varrow estate stood secluded, hidden behind tall trees and an electric fence. Louise reached it at dusk, wrapped in a stolen coat, her face soot-stained, a disguise perfect in its misery. Security was surprisingly thin. Most guards were still at the warehouse ruins, busy with cleanup, or so they believed. No one expected one of the women to survive, and certainly not return here. Inside, the mansion was oppressively quiet. Too sterile. Too perfect. Every piece of furniture placed with surgical precision. A faint scent of lavender drifted through the air, absurdly out of place in a house built on horror. Louise walked down the long corridor where Eleanor Varrow had once welcomed her with a sugar-sweet smile. A smile masking the obsession with control that simmered beneath her skin. On a table in the hall lay a silver cigarette case. Its polished surface reflected the shine of the fireplace. But the fireplace was cold. It was all decoration, like everything in this house. 3. Voices in the salon. Voices drifted from the salon. 2 voices. Eleanor. Richard. It burned too fast. It couldn't have caught fire on its own. Someone did this. One of them escaped. I told you that Irish girl had fire in her eyes. Lowish stood by the doorway, her pulse beating like a war drum. We'll handle this like we always have. A new batch arrives tomorrow. The gardener will deliver them. The world never stops producing people to exploit. That tone, the same calm, delicate voice she had used while showing Louise the servants' quarters on her first day. Richard sighed theatrically. Maybe it's a sign to relocate. That place is done, literally. We'll move eventually. Eleanor shrugged. But first we recover the client lists. If anyone stole them, her voice trembled. Richard, they'll kill us. No one would dare touch us. Too many people depend on us staying quiet. They still believe they were untouchable. Still believed they owned the world. Lawes clenched her fists. Sophia had the client list. Tamara was already with the journalist. The Varrow Empire was crumbling faster than they realized, but she needed to finish it. 4. The Confrontation. She entered the salon, slowly, without rushing. Like a shadow returning to collect a debt, Eleanor dropped her wine glass. It shattered on the floor. Richard froze. Both turned ghost white. Sophia had the client list. Tamara was already with the journalist. The Varrow Empire was crumbling faster than they realized, but she needed to finish it. Possible, Eleanor whispered. You should be burned? Lawaz finished quietly. Like they were? Richard instinctively reached under his jacket, likely for a gun, but Louise moved faster. She swung the metal fireplace poker. The one piece of iron they had never used because the fire in this house was always fake. He collapsed. Eleanor screamed, but Laos silenced her with a hand over her mouth. Where are the keys to the study? What keys? What stoop? Louise pressed the poker to her cheek. The safe. The documents. Eleanor trembled the way only those who have lived their entire lives in an illusion of control tremble. She pointed with a shaking hand at the painting above the fireplace. Behind it, a panel. Behind the panel, a safe. Inside the safe. 5. A truth that steals breath. The documents were as thick as a dead man's ledger. Names, photos, transport lists, client aliases, hidden money flows, hundreds of pages, each one enough to destroy a career, a family, a life. And there were photographs of the women. All the women. Some Laoise recognized, some she had never seen before. Every face looked back at her like a scream. Every one deserved justice. 6. The Lost Shadow. When the police arrived, anonymously tipped off by Tamara, they found Louisa sitting on the floor surrounded by evidence, binders, photos, spreadsheets. Richard and Eleanor Varrow were in handcuffs, dazed and furious, more insulted than frightened. "They'll come for us," Richard muttered. "You don't know who you've started a war with." Louisa met his gaze one last time. "The war started when you began making women disappear. Shook the entire country. The client lists caused political earthquakes." The surviving women received protection, support, and a chance to testify. The warehouses were demolished, the site preserved as a crime scene of unprecedented scale. Lois didn't want praise or recognition. She wanted only one thing: that no one else vanish like they had vanished. And although she still woke sometimes to the sound of echoing concrete corridors in her dreams, she finally felt something she had never known before. Justice. Not perfect. Not complete, but enough to make the shadow stop growing.